My name is Dr. Anshul Sharma. I'm professor in Tirthankar Maha University, Muradabad. I have the specialization of finance. I'm taking a lecture of financial management for you. Today, I will take the lecture on leverage analysis. First of all, what is the meaning of leverage? Leverage in general refers to a relationship between two independent variables. It means whenever we have to check the relationship between two variables, then we are finding the leverage. It means if one variable is dependent and other is independent, then we can find out ratio. For example, suppose there are two figures given to you, sales and profit, and you have to find out the ratio of sales and profit. Then you have to write down sales divided by profit divided. For example, two figures are given to you, sales and gross profit, and you have to find out gross profit ratio. Then what you have to do? Simply you have to write down gross profit in numerator and sales in denominator, and you can find out gross profit ratio. So in business, there are number of variables are given to you. For example, if you are taking the case of a business firm, then variables may be cost, revenue, EBIT. Then whenever we have to check the influence of one financial variable over some other financial variable, we have to find out leverage. So in nutshell, leverage is equal to percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. Now, leverage may be bifurcated in this way. If we had to find out leverage for a business, there are two types of leverage. First is operating leverage and second is financial leverage. Now, what is the meaning of operating leverage? As I have discussed that leverage means simply a relationship between two variables in which one is dependent and another is independent. And whenever we have to find out operating leverage, then we are finding the relationship between percentage change in EBIT and percentage change in sales revenue. In another sense, if we want to understand about the leverage, then you can say leverage is the amount of debt. In another sense, we read leverage as amount of debt used by an organization. And if you are talking about operating leverage, it means to operate the business, an organization is using some amount of debt. This is the operating leverage. Now, if I take an example, for example, a firm is using a capital structure of 100 lakh in which it has 50% equity and 50% debt. So this leverage is called financial leverage. There are two leverage, operating and financial. Operating means leverage or debt collected by the organization to run the business. And financial leverage means debt collected by the organization to start the business. So if you are talking about operating leverage, it means suppose an organization started its business and it needs rupees 100 lakh. It had 50 lakh in the account and it collected 50 lakh from the market as a debt. And after some time, the organization had to return back this 50 lakh rupees. So this is the leverage. But because the leverage or the debt is using by the organization for setup of the business, so it is called financial leverage. Now, when we collected the fund for establishment of the business, it means we had an intention to run the business. Now, suppose we have collected the fund and now we started the operation of the organization. But after some time, we need funds again to run operation of the business. Then again we go to the market and we receive some financial support from the outside world by the way of short-term debt, short-term loan. These debt which is collected by the organization to run the business, and these debt will be cleared within a year. So you can say if debts are taken by the organization for short term, it means it's a operating leverage. And if debts are taken by the firm for a long term, this is financial leverage. So these are two types of the leverage. Whenever we have to find out operating leverage, we have a formula: percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. It means operating leverage shows us relationship between EBIT and sales. Now, what is the implication of operating leverage and financial leverage? If we take more leverage to run the business, it means if a firm is using more operating leverage, then risk in the firm increases and break-even point becomes far from the point. In contrary, if a firm is using lesser operating leverage, then firm may find break-even point very shortly. Now, see the chart. This is the chart of operating leverage. Here we have low operating leverage. In this chart you can see when a firm is using low operating leverage, then the firm is receiving break-even point shortly. This is the case of low operating leverage. But when a firm is using high operating leverage, then you can find out that this is the break-even point and firm take more time to get break-even point. And what are the implications? Chart is showing picture very clearly that in first condition, when you are using low operating leverage, you get and EBIT, you get break-even point shortly in comparison to the condition where you are using more operating leverage. And on the same time, although you are recovering break-even point shortly, but the margin of profit not increases very sharply where we are using low operating leverage. But it is the case of high operating leverage where we receive break-even point of the firm after a certain time. It means it takes long time, but after getting break-even point, the margin of profit increases very sharply. So you can say if you are using more operating leverage, it means margin of profit increases sharply after recovering break-even point. But on the same time, riskiness of the firm increases very sharply. So in nutshell, you can say if you are using more and more operating leverage, then the first tension for the organization is to recover the break-even point. But after recovering the break-even point, the margin of the profit increases very sharply in case of high operating leverage. But if we take the example of low operating leverage, then the firm where we are using low operating leverage, we have to spend lesser time to recover break-even point. But after recovering break-even point, margin of profit not increases very sharply. So what's the recommendation? Recommendation says if business is stable, it means if there is no question on the EBID, then firm should use more operating leverage. But if there is a question mark on the EBID, then firm should use low operating leverage. Now let's move to another slide. This is financial leverage. As we have discussed with you that the leverage is simply a relationship between two variables. So financial leverage is the relationship between EBIT and EPS. EBIT and EPS. In another sense, we want to understand about the financial leverage. Financial leverage means the leverage which is collected by the firm to establish the business. Whenever firm collect fund for establishment of the business, it is considered as financial leverage. For example, an entrepreneur wants to start a business, but he has rupees 50 lakh, but the business which he wants to start needs rupees 1 crore. So it needs 50 lakh more because it has 50 lakh in his pocket or in his account. So when the organization needs rupees 50 lakh and it collected by the way of debt for establishment of the business, then it's a financial leverage. So financial leverage is the leverage which is collected by the organization for a longer period called financial leverage. If a leverage is collected for a shorter period, it is called operating leverage. Now, what is the effect of financial leverage and the operating leverage? As I have discussed with you that the effect of operating leverage is on EBIT especially, and effect of financial leverage is on EPS actually. So what is the suggestion for the organization? It is a suggestion for the organization that if an organization uses more financial leverage, if an organization uses more financial leverage, then effect on EPS would be positive. So you can say by increasing the amount of financial leverage in the capital structure, EPS of the firm may be increased up to a level. So theory says if you use more financial leverage, then the EPS of the firm will be more. But on the same time, you have to keep in mind always that if you are using more leverage, then firm becomes more riskier. So you have to keep in mind that if you are using more leverage, EPS may be increased, but riskiness of the firm increases very sharply. And what is the effect of the riskiness? If riskiness of the firm increases, then investor will not remain with the organization in the longer period. They will leave the organization and they will invest in other organization. So whenever you have to take financial leverage, you have to keep in mind that although by using more financial leverage, EPS may be increased, but because riskiness of financial statement increases on the same time, so we have to maintain a trade-off between the amount of financial leverage. Now, this is another type of leverage. This is the combined leverage. The combined leverage is not actually a distinct type of leverage. Rather, it is a product of operating leverage and the financial leverage. So, combined leverage is equal to percentage change in EPS divided by percentage change in sales. And another formula is operating leverage into financial leverage. So when we multiply operating leverage and financial leverage, then we find combined leverage. Now let's see the impact of operating and financial leverage by this diagram. This is the compounding effect of operating leverage and financial leverage. Variation in sales. Reason is operating leverage. Variation in EBIT. It means operating leverage establishes a relationship between variation in EBIT and variation in sales. And financial leverage establishes a relationship between variation in EPS and variation in EBIT. So this is a combined effect. Now, I think it's very much clear to all of you what is the meaning of leverage. Now let's start some numerical problem. This is the numerical problem. Calculate the degree of operating leverage, degree of financial leverage, and degree of combined leverage for the following firm and interpret the result. This is the question actually. But for saving some time, I maintain, or you can say I write down a format which we have to use. Whenever you have to solve the problem of leverages, then you have to write down this format. First of all, sales minus variable cost is equal to contribution minus fixed cost is equal to EBIT minus interest is equal to EBT minus tax is equal to earning after tax minus preference dividend is equal to earning available to equity holders. Now, let's read the problem first of all. It is given in the question, calculate the degree of operating leverage, degree of financial leverage, and degree of combined leverage for the following firm and interpret the results. There are three firms, firm A, firm B, and firm C. These are the information which was given to us. This is sales revenue, variable cost, fixed cost, interest on borrowings. Now, whenever we have to solve this problem, first of all, we have to write down this format. After that, we apply the formula. If we talk about the formula, then we have to find out degree of operating leverage. Let's see what was the formula. This was operating leverage. Operating leverage is equal to percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales revenue, and degree of operating leverage is equal to contribution by EBIT. Again, come on the financial leverage. Degree of financial leverage is equal to EBIT divided by EBT, and combined leverage is equal to operating leverage into financial leverage. So I think it's very much clear to all of you. Now let's do the problem. First of all, sales revenue. For firm A, sales revenue is rupees 1 lakh. 120 this is 150. Variable cost. Variable cost is 60,000, 80,000, and 90,000. Now you have to deduct variable cost from sales. Now contribution will be 40,000, 120 minus 80. It will be 40,000. 150 minus 90 will be 60,000. Now less fixed cost. Here it is given 10, 10, 10. I'm using the shortcut key 10, 10, 10. Now again you have to deduct fixed cost from the contribution. Now EBIT is 30,000, 30,000, and 50,000. Now interest. Here given interest on borrowing 20, 20, 30. Write down the amount here 20, 20 and 30. Now again you have to less 30 minus 20 will be 10,000. 30 minus 20 will be 10,000. 50 minus 30 will be 20,000. Now calculate amount of tax. Here tax is not given, and because tax is not given, so we are not calculating tax. Actually this is a complete format, but here we use only these three figures: contribution, EBIT and EBT. These three figures we need. Now let's erase the waste thing. Now first of all you have to calculate degree of operating leverage. Degree of operating leverage is equal to contribution divided by EBIT. Contribution by EBIT. It means 40,000 divided by 30,000 will be 1.33. Again 40,000 divided by 30,000 will be 1.33. Again 60,000 divided by 50,000 will be 1.22. Now degree of financial leverage is equal to EBIT by EBT. Now 30,000 divided by 10,000 will be 3. EBIT 30,000 divided by 10, 3. Now 50,000 divided by 20,000, 2.5. Here degree of combined leverage is equal to degree of operating leverage into degree of financial leverage. Now multiply 1.3 into 3, it will be 4. 1.3 into 3, it will be 4. 1.22 into 2.5. Let's take the help of calculator. One point two two into 2.5. It is 3.05. 3.05. 0.05. So this is a solution of a numerical. I think it should be very much clear to all of you. It means simply whenever we have to do this type of problem, we have to write down this format first of all. After that we will do another thing. Now come on the numerical number 2. Here it is given that the following figure relate to two companies. You are required to calculate operating, financial and combined leverage for the two companies and comment on the risk position of them. I don't want to waste your time, and if I'm writing again and again, it takes some time. So I'm not wasting the time and coming on the solution. This is a simple format which we have to follow in every problem. This is solution. So there are two firms, rupees in lakh, 750 lakh and 1000. Sales. All figures I am writing in lakh, 750. Now this is 7.5 crore and this is 10 crore. First of all, variable cost 300 lakh. It means now deduct variable cost, it will be 450 7. Fixed cost 225 and 400. 225 and 400. 225 and 400. Now remaining is EBIT. Remaining will be 225 and here remaining will be 3. If we deduct 4 from 7, then 7 minus 4 will be 3. Now interest. Interest is given 75 and 100. Now this is 150. Here it will be 2. Now simply apply the formula. Formula is degree of operating leverage is equal to contribution by EBIT. This is contribution and this is EBIT. So 450 divided by 225 will be 2. 7 by 3. It will be 2.33. Now 225 divided by 150 will be 1.5. Again 3 divided by 2 will be 1.5. Now you have to find out degree of combined leverage. As it is very much clear that degree of combined leverage is equal to degree of operating leverage into degree of financial leverage. So we have to multiply 2 into 1.5, it will be 3, and here 2.33 into 1.4, 5, it will be 4. So question is complete. I think it should be very much clear to all of you. There should not be any problem. It's very easy questions. Now, another question. A firm has sales of rupees 20 lakh, variable cost of rupees 14 lakh, and fixed cost of rupees 4 lakh, inclusive of interest of rupees 1 lakh. Calculate its operating, financial, and combined leverage. Second, if a firm decides to double its EBIT, how much of a rise in sales would be needed on a percentage basis? Again, I am copying the format because I don't want to waste your time. This is question number 3. Simply, first of all, write down the format. Now, it is in the question, given in the question that a firm has sales of rupees 20 lakh. Write down 20 lakh. Variable cost is given 14 lakh. Contribution 6 lakh. Fixed cost 4 lakh. EBIT rupees 2 lakh. Now, interest. Interest is rupees 1 lakh. equity will be 1 lakh. Now simply apply the formula. Contribution by EBIT by EBT. Now, first of all, degree of operating leverage, contribution by EBIT 6 by 2, it will be 3. Now, degree of financial leverage, EBIT by EBT 2 by 1, and here we have to multiply both the leverages. Then 3 and 2 will be 6. The first part is complete. Now in second part, you have to see if a firm decide to double its EBIT, how much of a rise in sales would be needed on a percentage basis. Now, you have to check the relationship between EBIT and the sales. Now, think in which leverage there was a relationship between EBIT and the sales. I think it was operating leverage. Let's check it. This is operating leverage. Operating leverage has a formula: percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales revenue. It means whenever you have to check the relationship between EBIT and sales revenue, you have to take the help of operating leverage. Percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. Percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. So you have the value of operating leverage. Operating leverage is given here 3 is equal to percentage change in EBIT. Because in this question it was given that operating leverage is equal to 3, so I am using this equation. 3 is equal to percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. Now, 3 is equal to percentage change in EBIT. 3 is equal to percentage change in EBIT. Yeah. Divide by is equal to 3. It means percentage change in EBIT is equal to percentage change 3 into percentage change in sales. Now, in question it was given that percentage change in EBIT, firm decides to double its EBIT. It means change of 100%. So percentage change in EBIT means 100% divide by percentage change in sales is equal to 3. Now, if we cross multiply it, then 3 into percentage change in sales is equal to 100%. It means it will be copy here. Now, percentage change in sales will be 100 by 3. It means percentage change in sales is equal to 100 by 3 is equal to 33.33%. So finally, the answer is percentage change in sales is equal to 33.3%. It means if an organization want to change its EBIT by 100%, then the organization has to increase sales by 33%. So I'm writing here for your convenience. Comment. It means to double its EBIT. A firm will have to increase its sales by 33.33%. It means if a firm increases its sales by 33.33%, then its EBIT will be double. So this is the final comment. I think everything should be clear to all of you. This is the final answer. I think very much clear. Now, next question. Here it is given XYZ Limited has an average selling price of rupees 10 per unit. Its variable unit cost are rupees 7 and fixed cost amount to rupees 1,70,000. It finances all its assets by equity funds. It pays 50% tax on its income. ABC Limited is identical to XYZ Limited except in respect of pattern of financing. The latter finances its assets 50% by equity and 50% by debt. The interest on which amount to rupees 20,000 determine the degree of operating, financial and combined leverage at sales at rupees 7 lakh for both the firm and interpret the result. It means we have to find out operating leverage, financial leverage and combined leverage for XYZ Limited and ABC Limited. So there is no need to waste the time if we can take the help from last question we have. I have write down the format. If I use this format again, then I save around 5 to 10 minutes. So I save it. This is the format. Now there are two firms, XABC Limited and XYZ Limited. ABC Limited. Now, first of all, it was given that determine degree of operating, financial and combined leverage at rupees 7 lakh sales for both the firm. Sales is rupees 7 lakh. Again, 7 lakh. Variable cost. Here it has given that average selling price of rupees 10 per units. It means 70,000 units. At rupees 10 each. Now variable cost, it is given that variable cost are rupees 7 per unit. It means 70,000 into 7. It will be 4 lakh 90,000. Same here. Now contribution 2 lakh 10,000. Same here. Now fixed cost 1 lakh 70,000 for X, Y, Z. This is 170. And this is same for ABC Limited. Now, if we deduct, this is EBIT, it will be 40,000, it will be 40,000. Now, interest. Here it is given that ABC Limited is identical to XYZ Limited except in respect of pattern of financing. The former ABC, the later XYZ. It means XYZ finance its assets 50% by equity and 50% by debt. The interest on which is rupees 20,000. It means here we will write interest expense as 20,000 and here it will be nil. The later former ABC, later XYZ. Now this is 40,000 and this is 20,000. Now contribution by EBIT and here EBIT by EBT. So 210 divided by 4, it will be 5.25. Here it will be 5.25. Now degree of financial leverage 40 by 40 will be 1 and here 40 by 20 it will be 2. It will be 5.25. It will be 10.5. So it is a solution of the problem, and last it was given that you had to find out degree of operating leverage, financial leverage and combined leverage and interpret the result. In interpretation, you have to write down that firm is having same degree of operating leverage and if we find out degree of financial leverage, we find out that XYZ Limited is having degree of financial leverage 2. And what is the meaning of 2 and what is the meaning of 10.5 and 5.25? Degree of combined leverage for ABC Limited is 5.25 and degree of 10 combined leverage is 10.5 for XYZ Limited. It means the riskiness of XYZ Limited is double in comparison to ABC Limited, and returns are almost same. So from the point of view of an investor, ABC Limited is more appealing in comparison to XYZ Limited. But although if we find EPS, definitely EPS of XYZ will be more in comparison to ABC Limited. This is the interpretation. Now let's see another problem. Now it's given in the question that this is sales, variable cost, fixed cost, EBIT, interest, PBT, tax, profit after tax, preference dividend, equity for shareholder. The company has 4 lakh equity share issued to the shareholder. Find degree of operating leverage, combined leverage, financial leverage. What would be the EPS if sales level increases by 10%? In this question, one thing is additional. Here, you have to find out earning per share. Let's start the question. Here you have to find out EPS. So we have to insert something more. After EBT, you have to insert some slides. EBT. Less tax. EAT. Less preference dividend. Earning available to equity holders. Number of equity shares. If this is A and this is B, then A by B will be EPS is equal to A YB. Now let's start. $50 lakh, 10 lakh, 20 lakh. 50 lakh variable cost. 10 lakh. Fixed cost 20 lakh. Now 50 minus 10, 40, 40 minus 20, 20 minus 40 minus 20 will be 20. EBIT minus interest 5 lakh. It will be 15 lakh. Tax at 40%, this is 6 lakh. Now earning after tax is 9 lakh. Now preference dividend is given 1 lakh rupees. Earning available to equity holders is 8 lakh. Now number of equity shares, it is given in the question. The company has 4 lakh equity shares issued to the shareholders. 4 lakh equity shares. EPS 2. Now, degree of financial leverage, contribution divided by EBIT. EBIT divided by EBT. It will be 2. It will be 20 by 15, 1.33. It will be 40 by 15, 2.67. Now, in second part, what would be the EPS if the sales level increases by 10%? It means it will be 55. 55 lakhs. Now, you have to calculate only EPS. Variable cost, because only there is a change in sales price only, so it will be 45 lakhs. 45 minus 20. It will be 25 lakh. Same. Interest, same. It will be 20 lakh. Now tax is same. Tax will not be same. Tax, because rate of taxation is given 40%. So tax will be 8 lakh, 40% of 20 lakh. This is 12 lakh. Now preference dividend again rupees 1 lakh. Earning available to equity holders 11 lakh. Number of equity shares same. It will be 2.75. Now question is complete and chapter is almost complete. After that we have only one problem. It is, I think, like the same problem. Let's do it. ABC Limited is selling its product at rupees 2 per unit variable cost, 35% fixed cost. 1 lakh unit come to rupees 1 lakh. Issued 14% divided by 26,000. Find out operating margin and combined average. Let's do this final problem. After completion of this problem, chapter will be complete. Now I'm using this format. Sales. ABC Limited is selling its product at rupees 2 per unit. Variable cost 35%. Fixed cost at the present sales level of 1 lakh unit. Units 1 lakh. So sales revenue will be 2 lakh. Because I think it's very much clear to all of you, whenever we talk about the sales revenue, it is sales volume into sales price per unit. Sales volume is rupees, sales volume is 1 lakh and sales price is rupees 2. So sales revenue is 2 lakh rupees. Variable cost 35%. It means 70,000. Contribution 1,30,000. Fixed cost 1 lakh. Now EBIT will be 30,000. Interest given 26,000. The firm has issued 14% debenture of rupees 26,000. It means 14% of 26. It will be 3,640. 26360. Now, tax. The firm has issued 14%, find out operating financial leverage. Tax rate is not given and there is no need to calculate tax because you have to calculate only leverages. So I am deleting the things which have no use for us. Degree of operating leverage. This is contribution. This is EBIT. This is EBT. Now 130 divided by 30. Let's take the help of calculator. 130 by 30. Point 43. 30 by 26. 360. 1.138. 1.138. Now degree of combined leverage will be 1.138 into 0.43 is equal to 0.489. 489. This is degree of combined leverage. Now problem is complete. Chapter is complete. In this chapter, I started with theory of operating leverage, financial leverage and combined leverage. And after completing the theory, I solved the problem for you. I solved around 6 problems and I have covered all the things which normally asked in the examination. Now after completing it, the chapter is complete. Thank you very much.